Faith, trusting in what you can't see because of what you can see. Hey guys, what's going on? Mr. John here. I'm in the preteen room. I'm here on a Thursday afternoon, and I've got some good news and I got some bad news. I'll start with the bad news. Oh, this is so sad. I know you're gonna cry. This is gonna break a lot of hearts. This is my last video that I'm gonna make. We may bring this back up again depending on what happens in the future, but for now we're gonna stop making these videos. This is my last. I made about 15 and I have had a blast making them. I've tried to do them in one cut, so there's been a lot of retakes. I've had lighting issues, but I figured that out along the way. We've learned how to do this together, really. I've had some major bloopers happen to me that you saw me with the beard. Every time I saw myself, I had half a beard. I'd laugh and I couldn't keep my face straight. To tell you, I was attacked by a goose one time. While I was walking, holding the camera in my face, I had a goose jump on my back. I didn't get enough of the goose to really keep the video, so I would have shared that with you. Another time I'm walking down and I'm videotaping. I'm almost done, almost a 10-minute video, and a lady jogger came up and started talking to me. So I've had a lot of interesting things, and like I said, I've learned a lot on making these videos, and I'm just doing this with a simple iPad. But guys, you saw the story Sunday, and like I said, the good news is you were at church Sunday, some of you. We got to go back into church together Sunday. Now, some of you did watch the videos at home, and that's okay too. There's nothing wrong with that. When you feel comfortable and your parents start to feel more comfortable about getting out, then you guys will come back and we'll all be together. But until that day happens, guys, I will try to keep up with those that aren't coming to church. I'm going to try to see the guys up that are coming to church. And hey, I'm not sure if we're allowed to fist bump or high five, but we can do one of these or one of those, where we just barely almost get there. But, it is what it is, right? But I am so glad that we get to be back together at church, at least some of us that are going to be there. And for those that are not, you're there in my heart. And so, but I want to touch on our story just a little bit, but I don't want to talk about this story that you guys saw. I want to talk about a story that kind of is similar that happened in my life. I had this friend of mine. His name was Pete. Kind of like the guy in the story, Peter. We called him Pete. Pete was this kid that I met when I moved to this little town and when I lived in Tennessee for a little bit. And I met this guy and we became good friends. And at that time, skateboarding was just a really, really popular thing. It was really coming as a new sport. This is like kind of right before Tony Hawk and everything. Some of you guys are looking at me going, I have no idea who Tony Hawk is, but this is even before that. The skateboards weren't like they are today, but we would go out skateboarding all the time. And Pete was a fairly good skateboarder. But I had two friends that were really good skateboarders too that I used to hang out with, that every time we go skateboarding, they would not let Pete go. And here's why they wouldn't let Pete go. Pete had braces on his legs. He had something wrong with his lower legs, and he had to wear these braces that went up to his knees on both legs. So one thing my two friends did not know was that Pete was a really good skateboarder. He had learned how to manipulate the skateboard with his braces. He actually could do tricks that we couldn't do because he could use the metal part of his braces. The skateboard would hit it and it would land certain ways, and he learned how to use that really well. He was fearless. Pete was fearless, and he would do everything on the skateboard that we could do. Plus, he could do these tricks that we couldn't do. But these two friends of mine would never allow Pete to join us because all they could see was this kid in braces, would just slow them down. Well, one time me and Pete were at the skateboard park. We got there early not knowing that my two other friends were going to show up. and my two other friends were standing alongside. We didn't notice them, and Pete goes down a vert, comes back up, and he comes back down and kick flips his board, hits his brace. He could do that little magic thing that he could drop the board flat on its wheels, and he could land right on top of it. No idea how he did it, but he could do it, and it was an amazing trick. And the two friends at that moment saw Pete totally different. They saw a guy who could skateboard, who could hang with us, who could be fun. They didn't see a guy with braces anymore. When I moved around a lot, I always used to think, do people see me different? You know, because when you move to somebody, the first thing you do when you look at somebody, you kind of go, okay, I think I could like him. I don't know about him. I don't know about her. What do they see in me? I always wondered that when I was growing up, when I moved so much. And it sometimes made it hard for me to go make friends because I worried what other people thought. I worried sometimes maybe like my two friends who had judged Pete so quickly. Were people judging me like that? And guys, I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I got this big green blotch on my nose. Now, when this video started, you probably noticed right away that I had this green blotch on my nose. What's Mr. John doing with this green nose thing? What is that? I don't know. It's kind of weird. But as I started to go into the story, as I started talking to you, my hope is that your attention went away from my nose and it went to what I was saying, and you were hearing what I was saying, and you were listening to me, and your attention no longer was here. Guys, that's what we do so often. We make these judgments. We sit there and we see something that just deters us from going and making friends. But guys, I want to read this verse for you. It is in the Bible. I got my Bible sitting in front. You can't see it because it's right in front of the camera. It is Romans 10:12. And I'm going to highlight a couple words here, okay? For there is no difference between Jew and Gentile. The same Lord is Lord of all. I love that word all. And richly blesses all who call on him. For everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. Guys, when we make these quick judgments on people, when we see people differently, we don't see them as holy a lot of times. Because when we make these judgments, we see yourself, me, myself, yourself better than them. And we don't allow them into our group. Guys, God created each and every one of us, all. He created all of us to go to heaven. If we choose to believe in Jesus Christ, it doesn't matter who you are, what color you are. If you're green, it doesn't matter. If you believe in Jesus, all get to go to heaven who believe in him. So guys, you may see somebody that may be a little different than you sometimes. Hey, go talk to them. The only way you find out that that kid can be the best skateboarder you've ever seen is to invite him into your group, to talk to him, to listen to him, and to love him. Because that's what God tells us to do. We are to love our neighbor. You're my neighbor, and I love you, and I miss you, and I'm going to see you at church Sunday, I hope, and if I don't, hey, I'm going to shout out to you sooner or later. Talk to you. Bye. Here's a great conversation starter. What are some ways people are different from each other? For memory verse for this month is, faith is being sure of what we hope for. It is being sure of what we do not see. Hebrews 11:1.